Welcome back to a new one, and in this one we need to talk about the rhythm generator. With this function we can generate patterns on a given pitch or maybe drum pad. Now this is meant to be used on a drum rack, but you can use it on an instrument because it will create a single note pattern. But we will talk about that later. In my case, I'm gonna use a drum rack and it will create a clip right here. When you have the clip, you have access to all different tools at the left side of the screen. We need to go to the one that says generate, and then we have the rhythm. The most important controls are the steps, the density, and the step duration. Everything starts right here. Depending on which values you use, you will be getting more or less patterns. First, you need to select the pad or note where you want to generate a pattern. You can do it from the drop-down section right here, or you can select, just click, the pad, and it is that it changes right here. For now, I'm going to go to the first one, which is the kick. I've got a 1-bar clip, and since this will create steps, the step duration that we are using, it's very important. It will set the amount of steps within whatever grid setting is that you have. In my case, I'm using 1/16 as a grid, but you can go here and just change the values. When you change the different controls, it can be a little bit aggressive. If I just start scrolling, it will auto-generate, but it's a little bit aggressive. You can hold the shift and you can fine-tune the different values. Also, when you generate something, if you don't like it, you just do Control or Command A, select all, and just delete the pattern, and you can generate and start over. And I will go to the step duration. If it says 1/8, it means that we can create patterns up to 8 steps. If we take a look at the steps, notice that the max number or amount of steps is the 8. If I do Shift, hold it, and then go to 16 or 6 or whatever, it will change the amount of steps that we can use. If I keep going up, we cannot use more steps, but the duration of each of the steps will change. Now, notice that they are smaller in this case. If I keep going up, they will be smaller, and so on and on and on. The maximum amount of steps that you can use is 16. If I keep going up, notice that this will change. We still have 16, but now what we are doing, we are offsetting the steps from the grid. So you can do something like 1/6, for example, and notice that the steps will not align to the grid that we have at the back. Let me go back to 1/16, and the whole purpose of this video is just to teach you how to use this, how you can control it, and how you can predict it. And I will go all the way up on the steps, all the way down to the pattern, and all the way up on density. Notice that we get 1 on each. So the density, this control, it's how many nodes we can use on a pattern. If we are using 1/16, we are using 16 steps. We are saying that we want to use the whole 16. So we get 1 on each. So let's say I want to use just 4 in terms of density. So this means that it will generate a pattern that has only 4 different steps or nodes within a pattern. Since this 4 could be on any place of the 16 slots of the pattern that we have available, we have a lot of possibilities. Well, that's going to be the pattern, this knob. Every time that you have more possibilities, the amount of patterns that you can use will grow exponentially. So in this case, we can use up to 454 different combinations. So now we could assume that depending on the steps, the step duration, and the density, this number, the amount of patterns, will change. If I go all the way up to 16, the pattern goes to 0. We don't have possibilities. All the steps are occupied by something. When I go less density, we have more spaces that we can use, so we have more chances, more possibilities. 5,000. So yeah, it's a lot. I'm going to show you in a minute how you can predict and control the patterns that you can generate. I'm going to put a density of 4, and I will go to 8 on the steps. Since my main grid is 1/16 and we are using the step duration of 1/16, every step will be aligned to the grid that we have at the back. If I wanted to change the duration of the different steps, well, then we need to go to step duration. I'm going to hold the shift, and then I'm going to go maybe to 8. And now notice that they are longer. And like I said before, you can use an odd number like 1/6, and notice that the step, it's not aligned to the grid that you have at the back. Still, I'm going to go all the way up, and you will find that you have an option that says grid and another one that says fit. Now, let me just show you the grid first. And for now, I'm going to select everything and I'm going to delete. Grid is very simple. It will always use the main grid as a value of the step. When we do it manually, we decide the step duration. But when we use grid, it will use the main grid. When I'm talking about the main grid, it's going to be this one, the one that we have at the top. I'm going to just delete everything. I'm going to change maybe the density. And it is that every time that we generate something new, all the different steps will be aligned to the back, to the actual grid. The other option is going to be the fit. So fit, it means that it will fit to your time selection. And what is the time selection? Well, when you highlight part of the grid, well, that's the time selection. So now, since fit is selected and I generate something new, it will do it within that time selection. And again, we can, choose different patterns, maybe use more or less steps, and it will give you that. That's how it works. You need to set the step duration that you want, and then inside, select the amount of steps, the density that you want, and then just, try to find a pattern that you like. All right, so how predictable is this generator? And it's very predictable, but in a good way, not in a bad way. Let's use a simple setting first. I will go all the way down 1/16. Maybe, I'm going to make it even easier. I'm going to go to 1/8. Then steps all the way up and density on 4. There we go. Now the pattern is on 0, and what we get is 4 different steps. The first pattern, the 0 one, it means that it will group all the patterns right at the beginning. I'm going to go to the pattern, select it, and we can use the arrows of the keys, the up and down, to go up in the patterns. And I'm going to do so. I'm going to go to the pattern number 1. It will take the last step and move it 1 position up. So now, since we have one available empty slot or step, it will take the other steps, these ones, and it will move them up one by one. First, the third step, then the second one, and then we are out of possibilities. So what's going to happen is that this one and this one will reset back to the beginning, and the last step will move 1 up. Let me just do it. I'm going to go to pattern number 4, and the last step will move 1 up. So now we have 2 empty steps, and the same thing will happen. It will take the step 3, move it up, then goes to the 2, then the 3 up, the first position on the 2. It will go up, keep going up until we are out of possibilities. And we repeat, the last step will move 1 position up, and then we have all the possibilities in between. If we keep going up on the patterns, the same thing will happen. It will move the third, then the second, then the third, then the second, and move the second only but up. And then when it's done or out of possibilities, it will move the third and the second back to the beginning, and we go through all the different possibilities. If you keep going up, then the same thing happens. The last step will go to the last position and everything resets, and then we start over. So if I go to the pattern and I sweep this, we can easily see how it goes. So our main reference is going to be always the last step. Now, why am I showing you this? So let's say that you want to create a 4 in the floor. Now we know that the last step is the reference. So the only thing I need to do is to put the last step on the last beat. So if I keep going up, at some point, it's just going to be there. And once we are here, I know that I just need to go to the pattern and then find the possibility that gives us a 4 in the floor. And if we play it back, we get that 4 in the floor. That's it. You need to always use the last step as a reference. Then you have the split and the shift. And for now, I'm going to just generate something. It doesn't matter. Maybe I'm going to go more density and create a step on all the different positions. And if I play it back, we have something like that. So the split, it will take the step, some step, and just split it in half. If I keep going up, at some point, we will get it. If I keep going up again, it will take more and more. If we keep going up and get to 100, we are splitting all the different steps. And this is a nice way to go up 2x on whatever step duration that we are using. If I'm using 1/8, then we are using 16ths. Of course, if we are using a different value, maybe something like 16s, and I go up on the split, now we have 32s. So again, it's a nice way to get variations and avoid changing the step duration. All right, so for now I'm gonna go down and just select everything and delete it. I'm gonna do less density and maybe just select a pattern. I guess that's fine. So then we have the shift. Now the shift, what we'll do, it will take the nodes or the steps and it will just shift the steps. Right now, I guess we have something like that. If I go here and just go up, notice that it will shift the steps to the right. And at some point, we will get to the end and everything just loops back to the beginning. So again, we are just shifting steps. Okay, so velocity and frequency, and they work together. So let's first create a readable example, a predictable example. I'm using 1/16. I'm going to go all the way up on steps and all the way up on density. So we have one step on each. This is about the accents and the non-accents, and you can see them right here. The non-accents will have a 100 in terms of velocity, and the accents will get a 127. Of course, you can go here and just change the values. And as you can see right here on the clips, we can see that the non-accents will go to maybe 55 or 40 something, and then the accent will go to 127. And if I play it back, it's just gonna sound like that. Now again, this is just pretty simple to understand. The thing is that, or maybe the problem is, how can we rearrange the steps so the accents can play whatever we want? Well, that's going to be the frequency. Right now, it says 4. So it means that every 4, we will get an accent. And we can see this on the different clips. We have the 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 different steps. Of course, the accent, when we select 4, it's the accent included. So 4. And then everything starts over. 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and over and over. If we go back to the frequency and maybe select 3, now it's going to be a different story. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then everything starts over. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If I go back to 2, now it's the same idea. It's gonna just do 2, accent, non-accent, accent, non-accent. Now what you can do, and it's something that very cool that you can do, you can select a range. Once you do so, you can change the values that you have right here. And notice that it's just rearranging whatever I'm highlighting. And you know, the velocity will just work as well. And if I deselect and go back to the whole clip, we have different values. Cool. I'm going to select everything and go back to 4 in terms of frequency, and the accent will be 127. Now, in our case, this pattern, what it's doing is that the first step will be the accent, and then we get 4 and, you know, accent, and so on and on and on. The thing is that what if I want to change where the accent is? Well, that's why you have the arrows here. If I go to the right, it's going to shift the accent to the right. And if you go to the left, again, we are shifting to the left. So we can choose where the accent happens. Cool. As you can see, it's a pretty simple generator, but powerful. Now we can go to a different instrument, like, you know, a bass or some keys, and just generate a new clip. And we can use it, but here it's just a little bit different because we don't have pads. We have pitches. So instead of selecting one of the pads, we just need to select a pitch. And you can go here, use the arrows up and down to select a pitch, and then it's just generating something for me. Or maybe you can just select that pitch and it will just, you know, select it for you. And if I just play the pattern, we are going to be getting it. Okay, so that's how the rhythm generator works. And if you learned something new on this video, remember to like and subscribe. If you have the money and you want to buy me a coffee just to say thanks, you can. You have links at the description for PayPal, YouTube Thanks, and Patreon.